In today's video, we're going to be sharing with you our pick of our top 10 garden veggies that we really like in our garden because they just stand out, and year after year they consistently produce really nice, either an abundant crop or just really delicious produce. And we're going to share that list with you today. So we narrowed it down to 10 garden veggies that we really like growing in our garden. And just to give you some background, we are home gardeners, turning market gardeners, and we grow an abundance of different crops and different mixes. But these are just 10 varieties that really stand out to us because year after year they just produce so well. And we just want other people to know about these variety names as well. I should also share that there are some garden varieties that we will always grow, but we just don't know the variety names. For instance, our bush beans that we've been saving for a very long time that were gifted to us from a very kind older neighbor. We will always grow these, but we don't know the variety names, so I'm not going to put that on this list because I want these to be varieties that you can go out and you can purchase and you can try if you're interested to do so. And one thing I want to make sure to mention is that this list that I'm about to share with you, it doesn't include every type of veggie that I think should be grown in a well-rounded garden. These are just varieties that just really stand out. So let's get right into the list. We have our top 10, and then at the end of the list, I'm also going to share with you some honorable mentions of varieties that didn't quite make the top 10, but they are really good. So to start us out, I put 4 tomatoes on our list, and they're all on the list for different reasons. That's good. Okay, so our 4 tomatoes, well, the first one I'm going to start with is called Bloody Butcher. Yes, that name is super weird, but these tomatoes are our earliest producing tomatoes. Year after year, we've been growing these, I want to say like at least 8 years or something. It might be more like 10, but every year they are our first ones to ripen. They put on a lot of fruit and they keep producing all season long. And the fruit that they produce, it's plentiful. There are a lot of tomatoes produced from the plant, and the flavor is really good. It's a typical acidic tomato flavor, and it's just a good, like, it's like a saladette tomato. They're about this big, and they're good for putting on salads or eating fresh, and it is just nice to finally get those first tomatoes. We are in zone 4, so when we start to get tomatoes, it almost seems like sometimes it's in the middle, towards the end of the summer. We have to wait a really long time, and these are always the first ones to ripen up. So Bloody Butcher tomato made the list for that reason. Early tomato. Next, we have sun gold. A lot of people grow sun gold and know about sun gold. It is just a really good cherry tomato, really sweet, really flavorful. The plants produce like crazy. They're indeterminate, so they will keep growing for a really long time and produce huge plants. So they kind of do need to be pruned. At least they did when we grew them in the greenhouse this year. And they are just so yummy. Anybody who tries them at the farmer's market, they want more of them. So that made the list because it's just a really unique flavor, and you know when you're having a sun gold tomato, they're really good. Our next variety on our top 10 list is bush steak tomato. Bush steak tomato, I believe, is a Burpee exclusive, so Burpee Seed Company, and they are really nice for a couple of different reasons. They are a bigger slicing tomato. They are red tomato. They're a determinate plant, so they only grow, I think on their website it says about 2 feet, so it's like 2 to 3 feet. They're small, they're bush plants, but they produce a massive amount of tomatoes on them, which is like super cool. Oh, I'm getting dripped on from the plastic. We're shooting in the greenhouse today, obviously. It is very much winter outside. It's January, but we're shooting in the greenhouse because it was a nice quiet place, and it's actually pretty warm in here, so that's exciting. Anyways, back to the list. Bush steak tomatoes. We've been recommending them to others for a long time because they are just so amazing, honestly. Once they start ripening, you will notice you get to pick a large amount of them at once because they are a determinate tomato and they only are supposed to set a certain amount of fruit on them. But we have noticed in our experience that once we start picking off of them, they kind of keep coming in, and we keep having tomatoes that ripen off of them even after we get that first yield of fruit. So they have been a really awesome variety that we have liked for many years now, and we will definitely keep growing them. And it's nice that the plants don't get unmanageable. The fruit tastes really good as well, and they keep for a long period of time on the counter. They won't start to go rotten on you or anything super quickly. And they're versatile too. You can use them as a slicing tomato on a sandwich, you can use them in canning. They're not super watery or they don't contain a lot of seeds or anything like that. So you can just use them in a lot of applications, which I really like about them. Fourth on our list, this is Virginia Sweets tomatoes. These things are gorgeous. And the reason that they made the list is because even after picking them and storing them, we picked a lot of them green and stored them on the counter, let them ripen. They stuck around for a long time. They didn't go rotten on the counter as they slowly ripened. And I think about a week ago, so it is January, middle of January, about a week ago, we actually finished our last one that had been hanging on there. And it was a good tasting tomato inside, even months later after we're done harvesting out of the garden, which is amazing. Especially for a tomato that looks as pretty as this one does and tastes as good as this one does. So that's why it made the list. And as far as the flavor of these, they are a little bit more, I would say, sweet, but they're just really good. And they weren't super juicy or super watery. They didn't have a ton of seeds. They had a really good firm texture to them. I just really liked them, and the color is gorgeous. A yellow with a little bit of orange in there as well. Really pretty, and that's why they made the list. They're really fun if you want to try to grow a fun tomato that has a lot of those extra benefits that I just talked about right there. Our fifth thing on the list, we put a zucchini, Ford Hook zucchini. This has been a tried and trusted variety that we have grown for a long time now. And the reason it keeps making our list is because they're extremely productive and they produce for a long period of time. The zucchini that come off of them also keep for a long time. We don't notice that we pull them off and then they're rotten on the counter or in produce baskets if we don't get to them right away. And that is a reason why I like this variety of zucchini in particular versus other varieties of zucchini that we've grown in the past. Our next one on the list is Bite Alpha Cucumber, and these are amazing. We struggled in the past to grow cucumbers, which was a completely other reason. But now that we can successfully grow cucumbers, Bite Alpha is a variety that produces in abundance because every flower is actually a female flower and you end up getting a ton of cucumbers. And the reason for that is that these plants are parthenocorpic, at least I believe that's how you say it. I might have mispronounced that a little bit. And so all of the flowers are female flowers, which makes it really nice because we could grow them in a place like a greenhouse and they didn't need a pollinator. So that was really cool. And also like this variety because you can pick them when they're this big, you can pick them when they're this big, and I have never tasted a bit of bitterness on them anywhere throughout that growth. And also we use these for either fresh eating, making recipes with, or canning. We just pickle these and they taste like pretty good pickles. The texture is a little different than a typical pickler, but they will definitely pass the test as far as making some pretty decent pickles. We are on to number 7 on the list, and number 7 on the list is Park's Whopper Jalapeno. So this is exclusive through Park Seed Company. And the reason it made the list is because my husband really loves them. And he just says that they're the best jalapeno he's ever grown, and it's the only one he'll grow anymore. They get really big and they produce many jalapenos. So that's a keeper, and that's one we're going to keep growing. He says the temperature on them, as far as heat, is also a really nice temperature, not super hot and not super mild, so right in the middle there. Number 8 on our list, I actually don't have a seed packet to show you because it is Huckleberry Gold potatoes, and those are really yummy and have been a good addition to our gardens. That variety we've actually only been growing for 2 years, but each time we've grown it, it has performed really well, and the flavor of those is really yummy. Now we do have some other potatoes that we've talked about on our channel that we do grow that we've been saving for many years, but we don't know those variety names. So that's why Huckleberry Gold went on the list, is because it is definitely a keeper and we will keep growing that variety. And number 8 on our list is a variety called Rapicante Zucchini. And these made our list. I know we already have a zucchini on our list, but these made our list because they're really fun and the flavor of them is really yummy. They grow on big, long vines, so they do need some trellising, or you can just let them sprawl on the ground, but they can make a really cool arch tunnel, which is what we did this year, and I want to do it again next year. And they produce a lot. a lot of zucchini once they get going. And another thing I really like about them is you can overwinter this particular kind of zucchini and keep them in a pantry or something, and they will last throughout the winter or at least into the winter. We did that last year. Now, this particular seed packet that we bought from Baker Creek, I believe it's a little bit different than the seed pack that we had in previous years because they didn't keep as long. They went soft on us sooner. So it does also depend a little bit on your seed pack. I believe the first time we did order from Baker Creek as well. So I'm not sure if just the stuff that was packaged, this is a 2024 for 2024, got a little bit different than the stuff that was packed prior, but just keep that in mind that this year we struggled to overwinter them and we didn't overwinter them, but years past we had. They grow really cool and they're really yummy, a different flavor. Once we got people hooked on these at the farmer's market, they would come back time after time and say, "You have any of those weird shaped zucchini?" Because they look pretty weird. They're curvy with a big ball portion or a bell portion at the bottom, and the bell portion is where the seeds are. So that's kind of neat too, that all of this part up here, you can just slice that and eat that and it will never be seedy. So Rapicante zucchini made our list at number 9. And number 10 of varieties that just stood out to us and we were going to definitely grow in 2025. It's from Sandia Seed Company and it's called Big Jim chilies. These are the same chili seed that they grow in Hatch, New Mexico for Hatch chilies. And we're obviously not in Hatch, New Mexico, but it's the same seed. So do with that what you will. You can't call it Hatch chilies if it's not grown in Hatch. But this variety is really awesome. We have a kitty back there who really wants to come in. Okay, I let him in. He's gonna be just hanging out in here. It's a lot warmer than outside. So anyways, back to the Hatch green chili. These are really awesome because they taste amazing. They smell amazing. You roast them, it's like it's glorious. I just really like it. They grow really big as well and they produce a lot on the plants. One plant can yield a giant basket of them, and then you can kinda keep picking them if you can get your season to keep going. Our season is short here in Montana in Zone 4, but I don't know where you live, your season might be a lot longer. They love the heat, which we get a lot of really intense heat in the summertime here, mixed with other things like wind and other things, but anyways, we get a lot of heat, so if you get a lot of heat, they might be worth trying. The flavor's really good. We just really like them, so they made our list. So that is our top 10 things of garden veggies that we will keep growing and they just stand out to us, and that's for 2025. Now, I have some honorable mentions of things that didn't quite make the list, but they are really good varieties. So first on that list is dragon tongue beans. These made our honorable mentions list because they are gorgeous. Look at that seed packet. They produce pretty well. We did get a couple picks off of them. They taste really well. They do turn white when you cook them, so that purple color goes away, which is a little less fun, but they're really fun as far as like how they look when they're raw, and they make a good display on our farmer's market table. So we like those. We're going to keep growing those. Oh, hi. I cannot hold you. I'm allergic to you, but you can walk around back there. The next one that made our honorable mentions is something that's new to us last year. It is Haas Golden Delight Zucchini, and these made our list because he can't decide where to be. And these made our list because they produced really well. They were very abundant, they were very productive, they tasted really good, and they added a nice pop of color. I've been looking for a yellow zucchini to add yellow zucchini to our farmer's market table. And when you're cooking, it's nice to have the different colors. This one produced really well. They don't get hard as and like firm on the skin as some of them do, some of the other golden looking zucchinis that we purchased before to try. So I just really like this variety. We're going to definitely keep growing this. It didn't make the top 10 yet, but it might in the future. We'll see. Next on our honorable mentions list is Detroit Golden Beets. These performed so well for us this year, and the flavor was really, really good. It was very sweet and they got huge. So this was amazing. I'm the only one in our family who likes beets, but we do sell at the farmer's market, and these were really popular. These might make our list in the future a little higher up, but we'll just have to see. We'll have another season of growing them to decide. Something kind of fun that made our honorable mentions list is tender sweet orange watermelon. And these did really well for us this year. It's our first year we successfully grew watermelon. due to the fact that we grew it in this greenhouse and due to the fact that we started pruning the vines once we looked into how do you even grow watermelon because it was so new to us. The flavor of these was amazing. And I can't wait for another one, honestly. They take up a lot of space. We don't sell these, so they didn't make our top 10 list for those reasons. And it took us a long time to figure out how to grow watermelon. That's also why it didn't make our top 10 list. But they are definitely an honorable mention. The flavor's amazing. They're full of seeds though, but the flavor is amazing. And they're an orange watermelon, which is really fun. Also on our honorable mentions list is Super Sauce Hybrid. I think these might also just be from Burpee Seed Company as well. But the reason this made our honorable mention list is because they have a ton of potential as far as how the fruit tastes when we do get them ripe. The size of them, they are huge, and the versatility of them. So, what I mean by that is that this particular tomato, it's obviously a sauce type tomato, which we do get a lot of requests for that at the farmer's market and in the fall when people want to do canning. But this tomato is so much more than that. If you slice into it and just taste it blind next to like some heirloom tomatoes, the flavor is really good. Outstanding, I will even say. It's not full of seeds, it's just full of meat, tomato meat, and it's really good. It has a nice, really dark color, a dark red color, which is kind of cool. And I just think there's a lot of potential with this particular variety. So much so that this is a 500 seed packet right here, and we are going to hopefully try to grow quite a few, and we're going to grow them in a greenhouse this year. And we're going to see how they do. The reason they didn't make top 10 for us is because we've never gotten an abundant supply of them because they just haven't gotten to that point with our short growing season for us in particular. The bush steak made the top 10 because we always get a ton of fruit off of them. This one, we haven't really been able to harvest as much. They just seem to need a little bit more time than bush steak. It claims it's a 70-day variety, whereas bush steak says it's a 65-day. So just to keep that in mind, it definitely sounds like it's doable for us. We just haven't had amazing success, but the flavor is amazing and so many other things I just mentioned. So it made the honorable mentions list. For our next honorable mention, I have a pretty big seed packet to show you. This is Luscious Sweet Corn, and we've been growing this variety for, I want to say 4 years now. Maybe this is the fourth year or this is the fifth year. I'm not sure. But last year we ordered 20,000 seeds and we ended up only growing about half of those. So we have 10,000 seeds this year from last year. So I'm hoping they'll germinate okay or really well would actually be the hope. And that variety made our honorable mentions list because it is a really good variety of sweet corn. It's a shorter day sweet corn. The flavor on it is really good, really sweet. It's a bicolor corn, so that's really nice. It is a really good variety of sweet corn that we have liked, and we will continue to grow it. I kind of feel like I'm ready to try out a new variety of sweet corn personally. That's why it didn't really make top 10, but it is a good variety to try out if you're looking for a variety of sweet corn that might do well in a northern climate. We have two more honorable mentions. One is Kabocha Winter Squash. There are a lot of winter squash that I should maybe put on honorable mentions, but I didn't because I would just name them all, honestly. But this Kabocha Winter Squash did stand out to us this year. It was our first year growing it. It's a very cool color, and they seem to be holding up pretty well in the pantry. And it's just nice to also think about varieties that will keep for you into the winter. That's a really important part of gardening that sometimes gets overlooked. We think about what we want in the moment. We want that nice big watermelon or that fresh tomato. But getting yourself into the fall and into the winter and through the winter, that's another component that needs to be thought of too. So Kabocha Winter Squash made the list. They taste really amazing too. It is a few days later, and as I was editing this video, I realized the audio completely went out when I was just about to tell you about our last honorable mention. So, our last honorable mention is called Midnight Queen Hybrid Eggplant, and it is an exclusive variety through Gurney's. So now back to previous me to tell you all about Midnight Queen Hybrid Eggplant. It is a nice, round, almost store-bought looking size eggplant, and it will produce quite a few on a plant. Now, with that said, we grew a lot of them last year. This year we had an issue with frost and soil type and all sorts of things since moving to a new house. And the ones that we did grow in the greenhouse, which wasn't many, it was about 5, we did get some eggplant off of them, growing more plants, and not having a late frost and things like that, we would have many more. So that is definitely just a good eggplant variety that we've experienced success in the past with. And we did also experience some success with it this year. Not as much as I'd hoped, but next year's a new year and I'm hoping we're going to have more success next year. That is it for this video. Our top 10 list of standout garden veggie varieties for 2025 season and some honorable mentions. And I didn't point this out, but we have quite a few different seeds that we try. Kind of brought them in here to show them off. And 2025 is a new year, so I'm excited to see what we decide we really liked from 2025 and will keep going with us into the future. Every year you learn, every year you get some knowledge, and I'm just hoping to share that with other people. He really wants to be involved. You just stay there. I'm gonna have to wash my hands. This is the friendliest cat ever. I hope this video helped someone else get some ideas of some veggie varieties to try. And I'd be curious in the comments to hear, what is a variety that just stands out to you and you will always keep growing it and it just does amazing? Because I'm so interested in always trying new varieties and there's so much knowledge out there to be shared. So if you have a suggestion, please drop it in the comments and we'll catch you on the next video.